I did my project on a movie called Pressure. It is a United Kingdom, a London production. It is about a South American family that migrated, moved to the UK from Trinidad to become a part of the middle class society, birthing one of their sons in London, England, who became a part of the white society. I chose this movie because it reminded me of the transatlantic slave trade, the crucial treatment of the black chattel slavery, and how they were forced on plantations in the islands or Barbados to produce fruits, whereas in the movie they now own their own markets and their own fruit market. Even though they used to be forced to do it, they now kind of do it freely, but they're still doing it for low pay. And just how the similarities of how they were moved from Africa to America, whereas this one was moved from um, South America, Trinidad, to London, the UK. So it's kind of backwards, but it just reminds me of each other and the similarities. Um, they also raise awareness on black consciousness in the movie. The movie is around the 70s, 1976 to be exact. So they're around the time of the Black Power movement, and they're raising consciousness on the black identity and on what it is to be black and the culture and the color of blackness. Like black activists in the 1960s, Malcolm and Martin, and the Black Panthers. This movie also touches base on the misinterpretation of the Negro. Um, that's the module that I used in similarity to the movie, like Carter G. Woodson's Miseducation of a Negro, about how the American education system miseducates an African American about who they are, their culture, their history, often making them feel inferior, teaching them inferior positions in society as a slave or subordination, making them feel powerless and the white man superior. Even at the black man's own will of consciousness, religious beliefs, or consciousness of the white man rather than the black man's own understanding. Spiritually, at freedom or will, Carter believed that black men should be taught to be more self-reliant rather than rely on Western European institutions. The movie also touches base on ESL schools, subnormal schools that miseducated children. See the same similarity of what Carter G was teaching about the miseducation of the African American, the American Western European school systems, and how they taught the African Americans the same way that the movie touched base on how the Africans were miseducated, keeping children inferior and suppressed, which leads to the child showing hatred and violence to the system, trying to fulfill their role in society, the white man's society, the systematic racial society, making them inequality, second class citizens that can't even afford food and steal from the stores and get jailed, leading to the mass incarceration of many black men. The mass incarceration also leads to my next slide. because they wasn't just jailed by stealing, but the misinterpretation of black folk. The Cauldron, like the movie near to the end, they were having a beneficial black gathering to spread black consciousness, and the cops, the pigs as they called them, busted in and started illegally searching the main leaders for drugs, brutalizing them and falsely placing them in jail, then lied and said the cops were the ones who got injured when the cops set their bloodhound dogs to attack and search, leading to a freedom protest to set black civil movement leaders free, not prisoners. Like Angela Davis stood up for the black people who were wrongly getting imprisoned, almost like they wanted to renounce the 13th Amendment, like slavery was never abolished, massively incarcerating people back into slavery just for having a black gathering, a beneficial gathering to spread black consciousness of who and what they were and what were going on in their community against them. So they got misinterpreted. Even, you know, sometimes their works were eventually heard about, like the good stuff they did, feeding people, feeding children before they went off to school, like the Black Panthers. But they're also misinterpreted for wrongly, falsely attacking cops and harming the cops when the cops were ones, you know, falsely putting them in jail. But they're just wrongly misinterpreted because, you know, having a black gathering, and they're turning their black gathering into something else, a drug gathering, or, you know, gang officials, instead of telling the truth that these people were actually getting together to spread black consciousness and the awareness in their own community and their environments. So they massively wrongly, you know, get incarcerated. Like, I know some of the people did have drugs on them, or actually these people were actually framed for having drugs on them in the movie. So I know in the Cauldron, or the dismissifying, one of the modules on dismissifying the 13th Amendment, where the presidents or the governors were making new laws to jail people if they found drugs on them, you know, misincarcerating the black folk is similar to this, but I just feel like they're misinterpreted. Whereas they could have been spreading awareness or black survival, they actually got misinterpreted by being known for stuff they was not into, like drugs. And my last page is just on the bibliography of where you can find my modules of where I use the interpretations or the similarities to do my work on.